Good morning, New Life. My name is Josiah Shin. I am a part of the Bangkok House Church shepherded by Josh and Tina Cho. I also happen to be Pastor Eric's favorite third son. I never really thought I'd be the first Shin brother up here, and I honestly never really gave thought to becoming a shepherd either. But after hearing my dad's salary and seeing the weekly offering report, I figured this is the first step in taking over the family business. I also thought about doing some impersonations of my dad while up here, but I might get a lecture later for not sticking to the script. So with that being said, let me go ahead and talk about my wonderful shepherds. I just want to preface before I start this section of my testimony that I do in fact love and respect my shepherds very much. Okay, let's get started. When I came back to Houston after graduating college, I asked my dad for house church recommendations. He ultimately provided me with 2 recommendations, but in typical pastor kid fashion, I rebelled and didn't listen at all. I then decided to join Josh Cho's house church because I knew he was friends with my oldest brother Enoch, and I figured it'd be a really chill house church where I could do wherever I wanted to do. Boy, was I wrong. Josh led with an iron fist early on, maybe because he was a solo shep, but I could always feel his eyes piercing into me with his lips curled up into a very distinct frown. So later, I thought the arrival of Tina would mellow Josh out, but I think the strictness got even worse. It was like a double whammy. You know how as a little kid, if you wanted something, you would gauge who would be more likely to say yes, your mom and dad? With Josh and Tina, the answer was always no. But I guess this at least showed they were almost always on the same page when it comes to shepherding our house church. So Rebecca, hope we can do the same. However, that wasn't supposed to be funny. However, I think one of the biggest turning points in our house church and how I viewed my shepherds is when we had a very serious sit-down conversation about why we, the sheep, wanted event nights on Friday nights, and why the shepherds, Josh and Tina, would not allow it. Obviously, the sheep did not get their way, but after a while, I respected Josh and Tina's resolve in doing everything that they thought would point us to Christ. They never wavered from what they held as beneficial to our spiritual walks. So if no event nights on Friday nights meant us doing better spiritually, then so be it. If I look back at all the moments I got frustrated or annoyed at my shepherds, I realized there never once was a moment where they didn't care deeply about how I was doing spiritually. I learned that this is really the most important thing we can do as a shepherd for our sheep. It is to continuously point our members to Christ. I could go on longer about how much I respect Josh and Tina. For example, how much they have poured into this church, especially with the youth group and with praise. But my hope and desire is to live a Christ-centered life, just like how my shepherds modeled for me. In this way, be an example to my house church, friends, and VIPs. I'm sorry for being a life sucker at times, and I wish I was more supportive to y'all during my time with you guys. But thank you for your patience with me and our house church and always showing us love, even when I know it was sometimes very hard for you guys to do. Now I'm going to talk about my favorite house church moments. I think a lot of my favorite moments with our house church was when I was causing chaos, but I don't think I should talk about those moments. So instead, my 2 favorite parts about house church was the journey it took to get here and listening to people share. I have been with this house church since its inception, and the different stages of life our house church went through was truly a blessing. Although it definitely may not have felt like that at the moment, looking back, I am truly grateful for the people I was able to walk together with on this life journey at some point or another. Whether they came and left or stuck around, this house church has been a constant in my life, and every one of my friends knows that Friday nights are reserved for house church. Honestly, I do think my favorite memory about house church is just listening to y'all share about your weeks. I know I sometimes can bully y'all into cutting your sharing short, but I'm actually genuinely interested and curious about what's going on in y'all's lives and how y'all are doing, which is why I tell people to share short, but always interrupt their sharing, prying deeper into their daily lives. As a shepherd, I will do better. I'd be lying if I said house church didn't bring me any pain, but I also know I caused a lot of pain as well. So I want to take this time to sincerely apologize and ask for forgiveness from my house church and anyone else I may have wronged or hurt. I am sorry for hurting you and ask for your forgiveness. I still feel unqualified to step into this new role, but I'm praying God to really reveal to me that it's all Him and I am just a broken vessel for Him to use, and that all I need to do is surrender and make myself available. To the old members of Bangkok House Church, where am I? We love you, and I will really miss our fellowship with each other. I kind of felt like we were just starting to hit a groove, but now we have to multiply. But let's do our best to remember why we do house church and to reach out to the VIPs in our lives. To the new members of Bangkok House Church, I commit to upholding the Shepherd's Covenant, to learning how to be more gentle and kind as a shepherd, to becoming someone you can rely on in your times of need, and to ultimately taking responsibility for your spiritual lives, as that's what's the most important in this world. I know I will make mistakes, but I hope you can show me grace. And together, let's win over the souls we so desperately want to know Christ. Thank you for listening to my testimony.
Good morning, New Life. My name is Rebecca Jeong, and I'm part of Bangkok House Church, previously shepherded by Josh and Tina. I'm extremely grateful to have this opportunity to share a little bit about myself and how House Church has impacted my life. When people ask me where I'm from, I say Korea, and the immediate response I get is, "How is your English so good?" And now that I'm sharing this before you all, hopefully no one asks me again. But my answer is that I grew up in India. I say this because growing up, our family moved back and forth a lot due to my dad's work. I grew up in a Christian household, but we were never fully plugged into church communities, and the changes made it more difficult. So going to church was a family routine that I followed without questioning. It wasn't until freshman year of high school at a spiritual retreat that I had my first encounter with God and accepted Jesus as my Lord and Savior. I had proclaimed my faith as my own, but my foundation was never firm. And in college, I went to a small Korean immigrant church where the college ministry had small groups that would rotate every 6 to 12 months. Although God blessed me with wonderful godly friends and amazing college pastors, looking back, my walk with God was never steady as I didn't have a strong community that helped me stay grounded. And in grad school, I went through a spiritually dry season of my life. Our church only had college ministry and nothing for young adults. So as I became busier with school, church community became less and less important. I continued to serve at church, but it was only because they needed someone and not because I wanted to. And fast forward to 2020, I graduated and moved down to Houston for work. I was originally trying to move to Dallas, but God had other plans for me. I learned about New Life through a friend and started attending Josh's house church through Pastor Eric's recommendation. I still remember the time when P called Josh right in front of me, telling him there is someone who's trying to join our church and that he's convincing me to go to a different church because I was a believer. It was quite a shock back then to hear a pastor trying to turn away a potential member, but I learned rather quickly why he did that. Anyways, by the grace of God, I was able to join New Life. House church was a very refreshing concept to me because the small groups I previously experienced were mainly Bible studies. But as someone who was completely new to house church ministry, it was not easy at first. For the first 3 to 4 months, I remember my voice shaking almost every time I shared, and I would easily get sick after our meals. However, as time passed by, I learned the blessings and joys that came from sharing openly. I saw members be transformed over time as we did life together and shared vulnerably. I had my own breakthrough moments when I shared my struggles of loneliness, anxiety, and difficulties with relationships. Not only was sharing hard at first, but loving our house church members were even harder. Putting together a group of people that would not normally hang out together was tough. I had days when I didn't want to go to house church because I wasn't comfortable with everyone. But the trajectory of our house church drastically changed when we became vulnerable with one another. There was one house church where we voiced our opinions, shared our feelings and hurts, cried, and finally reconciled. And the fall retreat that came right after was very special because for the first time, I truly felt united with our members. Although as a group, we still don't hang out a lot outside of house church, I know that we like each other and genuinely enjoy coming out to house church each week. And all of this would not have been possible had it not been for our shepherds, Josh and Tina. Back then, I had just joined Josh's house church about 2 weeks prior to the wedding, so the fact that they invited me, a total stranger, especially to Tina, because I never met her before the wedding, was crazy to me. But it just comes down to show their hearts for house church and the members. They were always available and never hesitated to free up their schedules to meet with us, even when it was last minute and unplanned. To Josh, I want to thank you for showing me what it means to live out of conviction and not just feelings. Even if it meant that you have to say no or difficult things to hear, your deep love for God and His Word was evident as you persisted to follow God's heart through prayers. I admired your persistence, but also your gentle heart and always being open to listen and understand. And to Tina, I distinctly remember the first time I saw you at your wedding, behind the doors waiting to enter the sanctuary, and you are beautiful. But as I got to know you through our one-on-ones, going through beginning the journey in Arrival Kit, serving together, it's okay, I don't think I need it. Thank you though. Serving together and just sharing our lives, I learned that you are even more beautiful inside. I can't forget the time at New Mexico when you sat in front of me and just listened to me cry as I shared the deeper struggles I was going through. Your gentleness and your deeply caring heart was so evident, and I truly felt God's love through you. You have truly shown me what it means to overflow God's love to others. And thank you, Josh and Tina, for pouring out God's love and showing me what it means to be true Christ followers. And lastly, to the new members of our Bangkok House Church, I commit to praying for each of you by name and keeping the Word of God close to my heart by reading the Bible and having personal devotional times regularly so I can do my best to reflect Christ's love to those around me. And lastly, I commit to making every effort to bring one VIP to come to know Christ. I look forward to running this race of life alongside you all. To close, I want to say thank you to our old Bangkok House Church members for becoming my home away from home. Through the past 4 years, God has shown me the importance of a community and what a Christian community should look like. And church now is a place where I can say that I belong, and I hope and pray that our new house church can be that place for all our members and VIPs in the future. Thank you for listening.